And we're live. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever the hell you are in the world. It's freezing here. It's so cold.
What's the temperature?
It's -2.
-2?
Yeah, -2. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, mate. So you'll have to.
No, that's fine. That sounds cold. So
it's freezing. it's like, oh, my thing says it's gonna snow.
Well, okay.
We're gonna get snow. I'm gonna be the happiest. I'm putting Christmas decorations up today. I'm gonna be so happy. It says it's snowing now. It's not.
No.
Stupid phone. Anyway, Mac from the Adventure Playground. I forget what you.
Well, the general thing is the Forever Adventure Network fan, FAN. But as it relates to us, there's the MacGyver podcast and the MacGyver SG1 audio series. So
excellent. Well, links to all of your stuff is in the description, so please go and check it out. And I know you put a crap load of work into what you do.
I really do.
Everybody go and have a look. Captain man is in. Not seen you for ages, sir. How are you? Sarah's in, Carrie's in, Dave is in. Guys, we are just Mark's in. 30-minute Doctor Who warning, new Doctor Who episode in 29 minutes. Is it?
I still have to watch the previous one. I'm still trying to watch the previous one. We don't have Disney Plus, and it's killing me.
Disappointing.
Every day I go on, I'm like, can I watch it now? No. Okay.
I did not know that was today. I thought it was next week. Yeah. So we should have done this probably a little bit earlier because everyone's going to put off and watch Go Doctor Who. First chapter's in, Laura's in. Hey. Mark, just a quick one. Are you hoping for a better episode than we got the first one? The first one, do you know how a lot of people shout woke at things? And I go, I hate the word woke. The first episode is quite woke.
Again, I'm just thrilled to see David Tennant. He can do anything, and I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, David Tennant's awesome in it. Brain Pay. And Andrew, and John Campbell. How do you do it, sir? It just seemed to me that when you watch it, obviously there's been a lot of controversy about them making the Doctor a girl. And they just seemed to me that they were very much wanted to make the point that it's fine and that it's okay. And I'm just like, they just went on it a bit too much. I always said that these things, I think shows should have an agenda. They should have, layism. They should, teach us something maybe.
Right.
Have morals.
But you don't have to hit them with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, you don't have to go on and on and on about it the entire episode.
Yeah.
There should be a story to it, and they're just
right. Well, that's the CW shows got ruined because they forgot. Oh wait, we're supposed to be doing a superhero show about this character, and then she or he, whoever, whatever show you pick, got shoved to the back because, and I had some insider info of the very open agenda. They said, no, this is a show where we're trying to have all minorities, everybody be a minority, which on the surface sounds okay until you forget your plot. And needless to say, there's no more CW. So
I don't care about a show having an agenda. I don't care a show coming on and going, right, this is going to be about racism because I'm very angry about racism. So I'm going to have a show about racism. And if it's a sci-fi show, then it's like, great, because we can use the metaphor of anything to make our point. But we can still make an interesting story because that's what sci-fi's always been. It's always been about that. Every robot ever in every sci-fi is about either slavery or freedom or the imagined freedom or whatever. Androids in sci-fi, that's why they're there. But you've got to do a story as well.
Right. and you did a video the other day that said it very well. I mean, for me, I always say, I want equality. I want representation. That's great. But I want equality. And it seems like in the last few years, since a certain person became president, the pendulum had to swing so far the other way to try and compensate for all the negativity that was brought, that it went too far. So now I'm thinking it's starting to get more, into this area. Remember the 90s, the term politically correct came about, and I was so happy to see that go away because it became everything everything offends everybody all the time.
Hmm?
And then last couple of years it came back, and I went, oh God. So now it seems to be going more equal.
I think the Me Too movement was when I think Trump getting into power, that might have had something to do with it. Oh, I said the T word.
Yeah.
But I think it was more the Me Too movement, and don't get me wrong, the Me Too movement had to happen because Hollywood needed it clear out.
Yeah,
it was it was way too many men in way too much power. And I'm sorry, but if you get a fat, ugly guy in power and beautiful women desperately want to get in your movie, a lot of men are going to take advantage of that.
horrible.
And did for a century. So I mean, it had to happen. But then I think a lot of studios and executives are now so stressed about being called any ist and racist.
Right.
And a massive overcorrection.
Yeah, because the people who originally were trying to fight the good fight, well, then you have other people coming off from the side going, ooh, I can accuse somebody of doing something that maybe they didn't do, but it gets them out. They're out. And now you tarnished the goodwill. Woke used to be a good thing. It meant like I think you said it in your video, it meant awake and aware and blah, blah, blah. But then again, some guy or girl or whoever comes along and tarnishes the good intent.
Yeah, exactly. I think it got twisted by like Fox News and people. They sort of, how some minorities took. You can't say the N-word, and I'm not going to, because it would actually, it's probably the only real swear word left. But that was reappropriated by black people and going, it's not going to be an insult word. We're going to take it back. And I think a lot of like bald, tattooed fuckwits, when you're not going to have that word, then we'll take it back, and started using it. And I'm like, but I would just say things should be awake. I like that when our TV shows are awake.
Well, kindness. I mean, everything should be. It's not that difficult. It really isn't hard to be nice to people. And know when to say you're wrong.
Boring.
Huh?
Honestly, if I sat here and just had a go at you for 45 minutes, we'd probably get more views.
Right.
I thought somebody on and had a go at them. It's like,
I always think about what did you put into the world today? There's people who go on the internet and say horrible, horrible things or badmouth, whatever. Okay, that was your contribution today. You lost that. You put bad into the world.
Yeah. I'm not drinking Bud Light though. I'm getting mocked for drinking Budweiser. I like Budweiser. I love you Americans. You gave me alcohol that I like. I was drinking Coors Light and I got.
Yeah.
I got so much grief.
I don't drink, so I just have water.
I've got children, so I drink quite a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a Manchester United fan, so I drink even more.
Did I tell you my kids are 14 and 11, and we were in church one time when they were little, and we taught them, shut up, you're in church, be respectful, understand where you are, blah 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 blah. So they know that, and they've always been good kids. And as we're getting out of church, this nice little old lady who was sitting in front of us the whole time, we're turned, we're walking out. She taps me on the shoulder and she goes, your children are so sweet. They're so well behaved. And I said, well, beatings help. And she went, and my son, who God knows how big he was at the time, lost it. He thought that was hilarious. He talks about it to this day.
Yeah.
I
was a manager for years and in social care, and this I rule with an iron fist, and everyone sort of laugh at me. I do. No, you don't. But yeah, I think I would never hit a child unless they deserved it or it was funny. And in which case, I think it's fine. But yeah, as long as it's like makes you chuckle afterwards.
Well, one of the funniest things for me is watching those videos where the unexpected happens, where you see someone in like a mascot suit with that face that doesn't change, and they fall off the stage. That cracks me up. That I lose it, because the whole time they're going, no matter what the terror is inside, they're still like, hey, boom.
Yeah.
So,
People
things
getting
like
hurt
that.
is funny. It just is. And you
Yeah.
don't want anyone to get like seriously. Sometimes I see these videos on like YouTube, on TikTok now, and it's like a horrible car accident. It's like, Jesus Christ, did I just watch like 4 people die?
Right. That's not funny.
Like that's not funny. But when we get like the we called what was the show over here? Like those blooper things where people send in their home videos.
America's Funniest Videos is what we have.
Yeah. So I mean, those sort of things are because they normally have to say like nobody was hurt, and they go, "Oh, I can laugh then," because it looked like he was killed, but nobody was hurt. Some guy coming off a thing, or it's even better when somebody like does skateboarding thing and trying to be cool, and there's like a pole, and they go crack, and like I'm laughing about that for a month.
There was a show, they took it off the air, but it was one of those MTV shows, and it was called like Scarred or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was all about these idiots, and I laughed whether they got hurt, and they all got hurt. They all broke a bone. And they show it. But it was all these idiots who are trying to be cool. I'm going to skateboard down this railing. Yeah. And dude, they were recording it. And of course, tragedy ensues. I laugh hysterically because you idiots did it to yourself. It wasn't like you accidentally, fell off a stage. Yeah. You threw yourself into a wood chipper. What'd you think was going to happen?
Yeah. I do remember seeing on, I went for, I can't remember where I was going now, but I got to the train station and there was a bus service on. So we were all like, oh, God. They were fixing the, so I came for a train because I didn't want to drive. And now guess what? I'm driving in a massive vehicle that's really slow. And it was like, brilliant. So, but the bus pulled up and obviously everybody wanted to get like good seats. So this woman, it was very pretty, dressed really nicely, but really high heels. And it was a really cold day, so it was all icy. So she tried to run for it to get to the bus first. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, poof, over. And I then thought it was funny to step over and go down in front and keep walking. And she was so mad. She was like, okay, fair enough. Well, you didn't have to take the piss. You didn't have to take the piss. I'm like, of course I did.
Well, she's embarrassed. She's embarrassed, and and you're basically laughing at her. So she doesn't know what else to do. I'm taking it out on you.
Well, you shouldn't have tried to get it into the front. Then you should have just calmly walked to the bus like everybody else.
I avoid so much trouble.
You had to try to run for it.
I avoid so much trouble by just going, you know what? If it's that important to you, go ahead. You can have the window seat or whatever it is, whether I want it or not. But once you become a parent, you're not as eager to get into the hostile situation because things escalate like that when they shouldn't. So I just go as I'm driving, you stupid idiot, you stupid. I'm not gonna roll up next to them and tell them that because now you've started trouble. You gotta vent it and then let it go because then I think about the kids in the back. Oh, here's a good one. On that note, years ago, I have both kids, very small, in the back seat. I'm taking them to my parents before I go to work. I was next to this dump truck that was driving down the road. I had to go this way to go to the gas station. So I went in front of them, had to put on the brakes for the oncoming traffic. As I turn and get parked to get gas, the dump truck stops. And this guy gets out and he's ticked.
Oh.
Because to be fair, I did mess up. I had him use his brakes. He has to use air brakes. God forbid it didn't stop in time. So he's ticked. Got it. I was wrong. So he gets out. He goes, you dumb, stupid, blankety. And I yell over to him, yeah, all right. I'm sorry, dude. My fault. Yes. Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. Right? That was the mature thing to do. But it wasn't enough for this guy because he's like, you're a dumb. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. And I start getting gas and he keeps going. And I go, okay, that's enough. That's enough. I'm done. Bye. Now he thinks, oh, yeah. And he starts rolling up his sleeves and he's walking across traffic to come at me. Now I look in the car and I got 2 little kids in a car seat. I'm not worried about this guy. And that's not ego. I know what I'm doing. And if I have to drop him, I will. But I don't want that because there's cameras and now you have a lawsuit and I got kids here. So I try one last thing. I go, hey, I said I was sorry. That's it. I can't give you anything else. I was wrong. You were right. Get in your truck and drive away. That was it. I had nothing else. So he goes, All right. And he gets in his car, and drives away. I think, whoo, God, dodge that.
So, I learned the way of avoiding a fight. The easiest way. I was staying at a mate's house years ago, and we heard breaking the window, and there'd been a load of burglars in the area. So we had a window break, and we were like, I think we've just been broken into. And so my mate Glenda, he stood up and went, right, took off his trousers and started to take his pants off. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? It was just like, if he is breaking in, nobody's going to try and stab me if I'm butt naked, are they? And went downstairs, butt naked, right? And I was thinking, he's lost his mind. Mm-hmm. Then I'm thinking, now if I'm the burglar and this butt naked guy comes down going, what are you doing? I ain't getting involved in that fight. I'm going. So I was actually thinking, he's a genius. That's actually. So if ever now anybody starts with me, I'd start taking clothes off.
All right, that's the way it's got to be.
But I'm fighting naked. Because no bloke is going to start with it. And they'll be like, oh, put your hands on
Keep it away. I'm good, thanks. Don't need that.
But I went through a divorce years ago, and I had an angry face, we'll put it that way, and I was really pissed off, and I felt the whole world was against me, and I was driving to my job, and this taxi driver, there's just it's like an island, right, and it's like 3 lanes, but it's one of those things that goes 2, 3, 2, 3 all the way around, so you have to feed in. So as you go off, then you have to come across, and you know what I mean? It's like it moves you over.
Sure.
So this guy, he tried to cut the inside of me and then go across 3 lanes to shoot down. And I was like, and he picked it, but I cut him over because I was following the God moving over thing like you're supposed to. So he's bam, 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 and having a go at me. So I was like, I did nothing wrong. So my little angry thing came out. He drove down to the train station. So I pulled up next to him, got out and started really having a go at him. I was like, oh, you tiny. And but I pulled his windscreen wiper up like I was going to rip it off or something. That was to the point that I realized the horrific mistake I'd made. And for one, it's really angry. It's really, it's like, okay, fair enough. He pipped his horn. There's really no need to get violent at it. What was I actually going to do if this guy got out of the car? I was like, what was I going to do? Punch him and end up in a jail cell? That what was actually. So I just went very English about it. I'm so sorry. And I didn't think. I'm having a terrible day. I was like, but I went full Hugh Grant mode. I'm terribly sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. But then as I walked away, I sort of went, oh, Lord. What is wrong?
Well, good for you that you stopped yourself. Unfortunately, people are too quick now to swing at somebody over stupid crap too. Like there's a show, it caught one of those caught on camera things, and you can watch a half hour. There's one called Neighbor Wars. There's like Traffic Wars. Now they have Holiday Wars, and it's basically neighbors fighting with each other, and you think it's so not worth it. One of the shows on the Crime Channel is Fear Thy Neighbor, and you'd be amazed at the things that set people off to now have a war with their neighbor.
I'm going to do this.
Oh, there you go. Actually,
oh God, are you looking at my picture?
I had one of them show up a month ago at my house, and I'm Catholic. You're not converting me. Thank you. And I don't want to be rude because, again, even though they're a pest, they're human beings, and I don't want to just slam my door on them. And so I kind of have fun with it. I open the door, and they're like, oh, because they didn't expect anybody to answer. And I opened the door and said, hi, what do you two need? And they're all with the white shirts and the black tie, and, and they got their book and everything. And I go, what do you need? And they go, oh, okay. We're from the church of blah 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 blah. And I said, oh yeah, okay, yeah. I'm Catholic. That's my church right over there. See the steeple? Yeah. However, here's an idea. You're looking for someone to talk to. You need to go down about 5 houses on the left. See that yellow house? Yeah. They would love to hear from you. Oh, okay. And they go, thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Nah, my pleasure. Happy to help. Have a great day. They leave. I close the door. My wife goes, who did you just send them to? I don't know, the neighbor down. Do we know them? No. No, we don't.
Well, they're not inviting us to the next barbecue either, are they?
But can you picture them opening the door, going, "Hi, your neighbor down there said you'd love to talk to us. Which one?" You know, we don't know them.
The one with the white door.
Yeah.
I made the mistake. I keep trying to think I can convert Jehovah's Witnesses. It's a terrible thing. They knock on my door, and I will quite happily chat to them. I find other people's viewpoints fascinating. But there are certain things that you just go, no, come on. There's a black and white truth to this, and I'm going to say, look, evolution. There's this lake in Canada, and when they were trying to find the northwest route, when we were exploring and trying to find trade routes through the northwest Canada, they found this lake. Because what they would do each year, they would just go a little bit further, sort of thing, and then the ice would come and they'd have to back off. So they get to this lake and they go, right, we're going to dump a load of guppies in this lake, this fish. And then when we come next year, we'll fish the lake and we've got some food. Yum, yum, yum. Now, there's about 20 different types of guppy in this lake, right? Because they've evolved. So there's little guppies that are on the surface and they're thing, but they've become now distinct variants of the same fish. There's this big, ugly one that goes right down to the bottom and it eats the thing. So I'm telling the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they're just there going, that's very interesting. No, evolution is nonsense. God did it 6,000. Like, no, I am giving you a fact. You could go and fish the damn thing if you wanted to. It's not opinion. It's black and white fact. Right. And they're just like, no, God.
Just, oh, okay, well, it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can kind of like convert your own thinking and still understand a higher power, but you do whatever you got to
do. James, we will talk about sci-fi at some point. We're going to talk about the Fallout trailer in a minute, but this is a hangout video. We'll talk about whatever we want. So, guys, actually, in the comments, if you want to throw in any questions or something or stuff you want us to talk about, we're happy to. But this is just us hanging out, having a chat, no subject,
enjoying our company,
Well, it's like if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. Yeah. But we will not talk about Star Trek. Even though we could talk about Star Trek. What did I want to talk about Star Trek? Section 31 is going in production.
What is that?
It's going in production. Filming starts in January. So the Michelle Yeoh movie.
Oh, really?
Huh. It's only filming for like 8 weeks, though, which is a bit concerning. It's a really short production period.
So what's the premise?
Well, it's a bit weird because the last time we saw Michelle Yeoh's character, Giorgio, she was going through the portal of something. I forget what it's called. The big donut thing that was in the original series as well.
Oh, okay.
World of Tomorrow, Guardian of Tomorrow, something like that. And then she stepped through that, and that's all we know. And then, but the film's called Section 31, so it's going to be about Section 31, but we don't know how. But Michelle Yeoh's character, in Giorgio, is just. Somebody said to me, goes, if you're asked what your favorite thing about Star Trek Discovery is, you must say the character Giorgio played by Michelle Yeoh. And I'm like, no. The question is, what is the only good thing about Star Trek Discovery?
I just started. I started the second season. I got through 1, and then I started to watch Strange New Worlds. And my buddy Nate said, "Oh, yeah, they reference stuff that happens in season 2 of Discovery, so you might want to watch Discovery 2 before you get into Strange New Worlds." Oh, crap. Okay.
No, they don't really. They mention it once or twice, but not really. You can just watch Strange New Worlds. It's not a thing. If you've watched the original series, it helps if you watch Strange New Worlds. But the thing is, if you start to watch season 2 of Discovery, then you know that Pike is in it.
Sure.
And it explains a few things, like how suddenly Spock's got a sister, which is fine.
Sure.
Oh, screw canon. Canon's for losers. Or things that have been like discussed before. Loser.
I sense the cynic in you.
Yeah. I hate Discovery. It's the worst Star Trek show. I've tried so hard to watch it. I was talking to guy from the Shuttle Pod show, and he was chatting. He's like, "You must watch it. It gets better." And I'm like, "Now I've watched it." I messaged him, Mark, a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, "No, it doesn't. You lied to me." And if I ever meet you, I'm going to punch you in your stupid face because this show doesn't get any better; it gets worse.
Wow.
They went into the 32nd century, and I've got all the new and I love a spaceship. I'm like, oh, new spaceships. I'm like, oh, spaceship porn. And even that's crap.
Well, I watched the first 2 seasons of Picard, and then everybody's going, "You have to see the 3rd season," because I know the band gets back together. Yay! And I'm all for that. However, when that came out, I had like 3 episodes of season 2 left, and somebody online was like, "Nope, just drop the 2nd season and go right to season 3."
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I wouldn't call myself a Trekkie or a Star Wars person, yet I watch them. Like, you know what I mean? It's not part of my DNA the way Stargate is, but
yeah.
I do appreciate good quality stuff. And Picard season 1 and season 2 started good, but you could kind of feel them drag stuff.
Yeah.
Like I went, okay, this doesn't seem to go where I was expecting it to go. And it's a lot of offshoots. Like
a very long time to get there as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
2 was 3 episodes stretched into 10.
Thank you. That's exactly right. That's exactly how I felt. I'm like, I'm bored with this, and I'm only watching it because I like to be a completist and finish what I start. I don't like to drop something. If I drop something,
it's really bad.
Yeah, and I've really tried. You know, like you said.
I'm always, the next episode might be better. And it just wasn't. But season 2, though, of Picard, particularly, the first episode was brilliant.
Yeah.
So good.
So good.
And then it just wasn't.
No.
And then
perfectly.
Yeah. Red Dwarf's coming back as well. It's going to be a complete reboot, apparently. Well, that's the plan at the moment. If the British people, I don't know how much Red Dwarf was seen in America, but
Nick Frost.
Sorry?
Is it Nick Frost?
No,
okay. I'm thinking of something else. Nick Frost had a great series that I loved, and I only saw like a handful of episodes.
This is 4 complete losers on a spaceship, the minor spaceship, and then he's the Crichton is a robot, and Rimmer's a hologram, who's a complete bell end, and Cat is a evolved. There's the kitty cat that was basically left the ship, and it evolved into a whole species, and the cat just goes, "Ow, that's mine, and that's mine," and going around and just, "I'm going to eat you, little fishy." It's awesome. But
I'll check it out.
The first 5, 6 seasons are hilarious. Then it just went off a cliff. The original creator is trying to make a new series.
You know, I don't know if we talked about it before, but I'm at a point where there's so much to see, but yet so little that I think is necessarily worth my time, because there's a lot of critically acclaimed shows out there, and they're brilliantly written and they're brilliantly acted, but there's a negativity to it. Like you sent me the Boys trailer. Well, I watched 2 seasons of the Boys. I'm a comic book guy. I didn't read the book, but because I knew what it was, and the show does capture it perfectly, which is why I can't watch it anymore. I love the different angle of a superhero trope. Great. Yeah. But what you just said, it's just foul for the sake of being foul. And I'm not 6 learning new curse words, so it's not for me. You know what I mean? It's a lot of that. Like, look at what we did. You bet you never thought a superhero would do this. Not for me. Yeah. I
loved the first season of The Boys. It was probably my favorite show when it came out because it was so different.
Right.
And the second season was okay. And I didn't enjoy it much of the first because I was saying to somebody about, I think we talked about it on the live, with the new series Gen V, it starts straight away at 100 miles an hour. It's up here straight away. Yeah. And that's my only problem with The Boys. I think even in the first episode of the first season, it's here straight away. But the problem is you've got nowhere to go. You can't shock me any more than that without going into like, well, it got vulgar for me. It's like a little guy in another guy's willy in his thing. And I'm just like, I don't want to watch this.
Right. I don't feel good when it's like when I watch a show, I want to be either happy, content, or inspired. And a lot of these shows that are out now, and I could go through a list, but it's been going on for 10, 15 years now, where, they're great. They're brilliantly written, but the overall feeling when it's over is, oh, I have to root for a bad guy against a bad guy. Well, I don't like that, you know.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's a subject for us, because I did a video in the week talking about how everyone copied Babylon 5.
Right.
But I did say in the video, I'm using the word copied as it's a bit clickbaity, really. I think inspiration. I don't think these people stole off each other. And I didn't talk about the plagiarism claims. Do you know about this when Babylon 5 was released?
Only from what you said.
Yeah, well, JMS got really angry. Right. So a year before, or 2 years before Babylon 5 came out, he pitched Babylon 5 to Paramount. And they said, no, thanks. So then he pitched to Warner Brothers. They went, yeah, let's do it, and did Babylon 5. They did the movie, and they came out the first episode of DS9, the first season. I want to say 93, 97, and whatever year it was anyway. That came out. A couple of weeks after that, the TV movie for Babylon 5 came out. But then a year after that, the full season of Babylon 5 came out. And obviously, there's a lot of similarities between Deep Space Nine. Now, on the video, I didn't bring this up because it's complicated. So I just left it. I ignored it completely. I got a few comments going, you don't know anything. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, of course. Of course, I don't know about one of the biggest controversies in sci-fi, for the good's sake. But anyway, but JMS basically has since repeatedly said more than once that they got on really well with the cast and crew of Deep Space Nine afterwards. But there are a lot of similarities. But the big thing is that even JMS has sort of said, and other people have said, when they decided they were going to do a Deep Space Nine series, when they decided they were going to do a spin-off of TNG, when it was doing really popular, it was around season 3 of TNG. It was a couple of years. It was even before Babylon 5 had been pitched. And when they then asked for people to start pitching ideas and things, and Brannon Braga pitched this Deep Space Nine idea. But they were told, as the only pitch brief was, it cannot be based aboard a starship. It can't be another starship show. Because we've got TNG still going to be running. So it's got to be something different. It's got to be fundamentally different. And the point is, like, if you basically go, you're doing a Star Trek show, but it cannot be aboard a starship, really, what options have you got left? So, I mean, JMS just really didn't want his Babylon 5 to be seen as like Star Trek's poorer son. So he did kick off. But there was never any legal action. And there's a lot of rumors to say that actually JMS had been settled out of court, and then he put the money back into Babylon 5, and it's not true. There's no evidence to say that it was ever paid any money or any court action was ever started, because he couldn't have anyway. There was no legal basis for them. You can, if I show you a script and then you write a script that's a bit similar, it's not plagiarism.
Right.
It's inspirational.
Sure.
So yeah, I specifically didn't talk about it in this video because it's a really topic where there's
you would have had to spin off, and
it's a 45-minute video on its own.
Right.
Oh my god, I got so many comments on it. Just like, so I just wanted to try to I did try to tell people, they're like, look, it's because there's more rumor than fact. There's as much rumor as fact. Sorry, on this topic, and a lot of people's opinions, but it's complicated. But every show has been inspired by something.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. I mean, the shows that I know so well, I can go, oh, okay, so they're clearly doing a riff on whatever. You know, that's great, because you're not hiding it. You're saying, no, we love this thing too. Here's our version of it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Okay. But, then there are those who would rip it off, but I don't see that so often, really.
You've got to, I mean, we're not Thomas Edison here. We're not like blatantly copying everyone else's work, are we? We're, right. But plagiarism is exactly copying, like John says, and that's not what happened. But there might have been some inspiration. The thing is, though, my argument in it was Babylon 5 was one of those shows that was different. And nothing else had been quite done like before. And I can see a lot of creators would watch Babylon 5 and go, God, man, that's good. I love how they're doing this battle sequence, blah, blah, blah.
I always hear that. Since it came out, my buddy Scott Tipton, we just did a Never Gets Old podcast episode where we do one of these. We're talking for 3.5 hours. We're just and whatever comes to mind, we're talking about it. Well, he writes the Star Trek comics and the Doctor Who comics. Well, he's always after me. You got to watch Babylon 5. You got to watch Babylon 5. And I watched whatever. I'm thinking it was the miniseries. But the problem that I'm having with it is I think I started it at the wrong spot. Because if you go on the internet and you say, what's the order of Babylon 5? Well, they did prequel movies. And the one I saw was the guy's older and he's talking to his grandkids. He goes, here's a story to tell. And it's a flashback. Yeah. So I watched it. I'm like, okay, I see the nuggets. Favorite. Is it?
Yeah.
You know why?
Call to Arms.
I would guess because you already knew what you were into, and I'm going. I don't know who these guys are. And
chronologically, just watch it in the order it was made.
Just
watch the series in the order it was made, and then watch the TV movies afterwards. The Call to Arms is brilliant though, because we know there's this whole thing with the Minbari war against Earth, and it gets talked about a lot in the Babylon 5 series because it's the fallout afterwards that the series is set.
Okay.
So it gets talked about a lot, and it gets talked about how Sheridan's character was one of the only people to ever defeat the Minbari in battle. Mm-hmm. And then in the movie, we get to see it.
Okay.
So you've got 5 years of sort of like being teased this, and then they did the movie. It's just like, oh.
Yeah, see, and I would love that. If I'd watched this from the first episode on, I think the first episode I thought was the first episode starts in a bar where two people are like, at each other. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Am I?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because I started to watch it and I went, I think I missed an episode. I don't think I'm watching the right thing, and I got out of it, and that's when I did that miniseries. Right.
Do Babylon 5. Watch it from the beginning, even though the first season isn't great.
Okay.
Because it's a genre-defining season, a show, and then you watch that, and you think about a lot of sci-fi that's come after it. And You'd be like, yeah, I think a lot of people like Ronald D. Moore and people like that watched Babylon 5 and liked it. So I think it's got no money. They had no money. It's a very low budget series, but that adds a lot to its charm, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And there's so many things in there. There's loads of things about spirituality and things like this as well that it's just so thought provoking. But the whole premise of the series is the Shadow War, and it is finalized in such a beautiful way that I'm not going to spoil for you, but it is not what you expect.
Okay.
And there's this whole thing about children and parents, and as a parent, I know you got to let go of your kids at one point, and that's a big sort of like the way they talk about it. But I don't want to read it for you because honestly, it's marvelous. But the first season isn't great. But as soon as Sheridan rocks up, it gets a lot better.
You remind me of when I'm trying to explain to people why they need to watch SG-1. Like people who haven't watched SG-1, I'm like, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, buckle up. But I always tell them, listen, the first season is a setup season. It's them going through the gate, dealing with whatever. But then by the end, it's very Star Trek-y. Then they go back home, the end. And I remember watching it and going, boy, this better change, because as much as I love RDA, they got to do something a little more. And by the end of the first season, you go, oh, okay. So, with the mirror, you're like, okay, from that episode on, it goes, now that you understand it, we're hitting you. And then second season on, they're not a team anymore, they're a family. Mm-hmm. The moment Daniel comes back and they thought he was dead and Jack hugs him and calls him Space Monkey, you go, okay, now they're family. And you feel that from the second season on. But I have to warn whoever starts, I go, when you start watching this, don't think you've seen everything. Don't think you go, all right, I get what Stargate's about. No, you don't. So the way you explain that reminds me of myself in that way.
I've been watching SG-1 again recently.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, that show, the first probably 15 episodes, I try not to swear very often, but God, they're shit. There's so many bad episodes in that first half a season. But I try to say to people all the time, you tell me a single show that was brilliant straight away.
Right.
That went on to then actually be a successful show. Because people always go, well, Lost, the first season of Lost. Because, yeah, well, look where that ended up. That was one of those shows. They had a brilliant idea, and they had no freaking clue where they were going with it. And then they, and
I'm actually showing the kids that right now. We're on season 1 of Lost.
Well, the first season is phenomenal.
I loved it all the way through, but again, I was able to. Everybody was complaining that you didn't wrap everything up. You didn't tell us about the creation of the smoke creature and blah 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 blah. And I just went, okay, I got it. I understand your point. We live in that world where you get info dump and you're going to find out everything. I just kind of went, it's a mystery. You're on a mystical island, and it wrapped it up as best they did. And I'm like, I accept it as long as they didn't just, nothing made sense ever. Oh no. What Lost ended up doing was, we're answering this, but now that opens up this, and I think people got sick.
Always answer a question.
People got sick of the new mystery, and I think like, well, to each their own.
I was looking, but I think that the SG-1, the first few seasons, there were a lot of episodes in the first season because they're setting a lot of things up. And I didn't really know what they were doing in it.
And they also were trying to connect it so much to the movie. If you notice, they're in the first 5 episodes, maybe more. They're constantly playing the same soundtrack type of thing from the movie. So that way you go, oh, if you saw the movie, this is going to feel like it's just that. And then eventually they got comfortable enough to go, all right, cut the music. Let's have a scene with them just talking. Remember? I remember, as a matter of fact, one of the friends who has no patience to try anything, she said, I kind of watched the first 3 episodes, and I don't know, it feels very militaristic. They're in the Air Force, genius. I mean, if that's what threw you, you don't deserve Stargate. Get out. Don't watch it. I don't want you to watch it. Move on. It's just, it's all very.
Go and watch there's a brilliant movie called A Few Good Men. Go watch it. Oh no, you're not going to. No. Top Gun, no.
Bridge Over the River, quiet. No, don't.
No, can't watch that. But unless she really loves whistling. I know. Is that the second one?
No, I knew you were going with it.
But yeah, and that's a strange thing. But it's just one of those shows that obviously we watched it first time round when it was brand new. But you watch it back now, and I try and get people into it. You do have to sort of push through. But Star Trek: The Next Generation is still considered to be one of the most successful sci-fi shows, in the last 30 years, sort of thing. The first season is rubbish.
Well, the first, my wife, who before I introduced her to Stargate, was Star Trek: Next Generation was her show, and there you go, The Great Escape. And she said, it doesn't really pick up until the 3rd season's Next Generation. Once they get rid of Tasha Yar, then it really. And I'm like, all right, okay. I don't know.
I don't think that's the 3rd season. I think it's halfway through the 2nd, isn't it?
Okay. Well, again, I think she's saying once she's gone, the 3rd season is like, woo!
Cash. All of a sudden, Geordie LaForge gets an engineering qualification and becomes head of engineering. He's a fucking pilot before that, but anyway. And they actually put a Klingon in charge of security. Duh.
Yeah.
And
also Wesley. Get rid of freaking Wesley. Nobody, even Wesley, didn't like Wesley.
No. Shut up, Wesley.
Exactly.
I made the mistake of actually putting "Shut Up, Wesley" on Will Wheaton's timeline. Blocked me immediately. But I think it was really funny because he'd said something about having a go at people for not saying "Shut Up, Wesley." So obviously, then 1 million people went "Shut Up, Wesley" immediately, and he just starts blocking them one by one. And then he put something about basically that he's sick of it and he doesn't want to have to block anyone else. So I immediately put "Shut Up, Wesley" on the next line. And he blocked me. I thought it was being quite clever.
You just said you weren't gonna.
You just said you wouldn't do it. But yeah, I'm sorry, but you're just gonna have to. There's 1 million memes you're gonna have to put up with that, Will.
Yeah, it's part of the world,
Yeah, I love Will Wheaton. He's a great guy, and he seems really funny. And I watch him in lots of interviews, and definitely seems genuine. And he's a massive Star Trek sci-fi nerd, which you gotta love.
Mm-hmm.
But Wesley Crusher's character was a bellend. And there's just it was really irritating. And then,
Yeah.
and then they
It's not
turned
the
it
actor's fault. That's
Yeah.
not the actor. I watched the thing, the documentary thing. I think it's on YouTube, where they talk about the creation of Star Trek, and they go all the way through Next Generation, and and to hear about the crap that they all went through, you're like, wow, guys, you're just making a TV show. Relax. Like RDA would say, we're not curing cancer. We're just trying to provide entertainment. Let's relax, unclench.
Right. So, right. You like Stargate, right?
Who are you talking to, me?
Yeah, you like Stargate.
Let's see. Yeah, a little bit. A smidge.
This argument with Ralph.
Okay,
God bless you, Ralph. You're still going, sir. You're still sticking in there, even though I've told you to bugger off repeatedly. So, come on, Jay. Tell everyone you admitted that all the system lords and Goa'uld are dead. Come on, tell everyone, Jay. Tell everyone, Jay. Come on. Right. Our Ralph messaged me and said, are the system lords and the Goa'uld the same? And the larvae inside the Jaffa? I went, yes, they are, because they're all the Goa'uld. Right. So you're admitting that the system lords, so the Goa'uld are all dead. So his argument, our little Ralphie here, has been arguing that in Continuum, where Baal is killed, and they say that is the end of the system lords, that all the Goa'uld are dead and they cannot return. Right? And I pointed out to him, no, the system lords are dead. There are still loads of Goa'uld out there as far as we know. Yeah. There's some of them on Earth. We know about them, the NID are tracking them. Right. And we've also got the larvae and all the different planets that we've seen.
And also, what's the saying about power hates a vacuum?
Yeah, exactly.
In my own series, I'm bringing that in. Okay, the guys you knew, gone. But there are a lot of second in command who, look at, they're stepping up now to try and, there's your story ideas.
Exactly. So this all came from a video of me saying that I wonder if the Goa'uld are now are behind the Lucian Alliance. And I was like,
I remember that. I love that. That's a great idea.
So it's like saying that the British government have all been killed, so the rest of the British people are all now dead. It's just not true, Ralph. And then I didn't admit that all the system lords are dead or the Goa'uld are dead. You asked me, are they all the same thing? I said yes. You went, and I went, what? It's like, no, system lords dead. They could get new system lords.
Right. All that means is it's the people in power. Those people in power apparently are all gone, as far as we know. Yeah. But there's always, I mean, that's the openness of to argue about it is silly, because that's, first of all, we have no show yet. I don't know if you know, but we don't have a freaking show yet. So. Yep. Everything's up in the air until they say different. And even then, there's going to be people that go, like, let's say they come back with the new show and they go, boy, all the Goa'uld are dead. Every single, thank God Tilkaz has the serum in him, because he'd be dead too. Let's say they do that. Let's say they do that. There'd be people in the world who go, nope, fanfic time, here we go. And then start doing their own thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But, don't ever close down a possible story idea. Yeah.
Ralph, I am never mentioning this again. And if you keep commenting, I'm just going to ignore it. So please give up. Right? Please.
Does he want them to be dead? Is that his thing? He wants them to be?
I don't know. But this is the third time I've brought it up. I'm not doing it again. So, I'm right, you're wrong. And that's basically, that's a lot how a lot of my videos go, basically. When I go, I'm right, you're wrong. And if somebody go, well, no, you're wrong. And I'm like, well, it's my video. So, man. How wrong can I be when it's my channel? I love it when I occasionally get videos going, you shouldn't do videos like that. You should do videos like this. I'm like, that's very interesting. Go do your own channel.
Right. Ultimately. Yeah. I mean, that's
whatever the fuck I like, because it's my channel.
Well, I just started paying last week for StreamYard because of you. And
sorry.
No, it's good because it's cheaper than anybody else. And granted, I don't make money, but I figured $20 a month, we'll see how this goes. And so I'm trying to do these live things. Wouldn't you know it, the last one I did, episode 116 I just mentioned, it's supposed to be live, which means, like you, it goes, hey, on YouTube, here's what's coming up. Hey, on Facebook, here's what's coming up. It didn't do it. So I had to record it and then post it afterwards. So I didn't get the live feed like you're getting. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why. Maybe it's me. I could, because it worked the first time. When I did the MacGyver podcast episode, the first time, perfect. Everything was live. We had someone chiming in. Second time, I don't know. I have to futz with it, I guess, or complain. But I think that's the danger, though. When you poke the bear on your video, you're going to have people go and argue with you. If you're okay with it, that's more power to you. I can't do it.
I don't mind it to a point. Sometimes it can be very frustrating, but sometimes get a load of comments. It's not a bad thing. So here's a couple of YouTube secrets. Here you go. Occasionally, I will say the wrong name on something, and sometimes it's a genuine mistake, but sometimes I do it on purpose because then I will get a million comments of people correcting me, and comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. And also, sometimes I think it's funny. So I did it with Scott Bakula, and I know because he did an interview and he said, look, everyone says my name wrong, and it's Bakula like Dracula. Right, and it's quite a famous video that he did because he got a bit whingy about it. So I called him Bakula, right? Which I thought was really funny in my own brain because I have to amuse myself. And oh man, I got so many comments, but it helps the video. And then I get to comment them going, oh, it was a joke, and now people still don't get it. So some people get really angry about these things. The YouTube, like Scitrek don't. People that actually subscribe to me don't. They get that I'm a bit silly and I take the piss out of it. I think Ralph does it because he hasn't taken his medication today. So, that was so mean. That's so mean. Sorry. Yeah, I think he does. He's just trying to wind me up. And I do get a load of people trying to wind me up on videos, and sometimes it just annoys me when somebody will comment something and it does irritate you, and then you have to go. I just get irritated when I make mistakes. I don't like making mistakes on videos.
Sure. But again, you're human, and it's a public. It's like you're not in any sort of position where you're going to be held accountable by the state or something. You can just go, yeah, I'm human, messed up. It's my own 2 cents. Sorry, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's great. The thing is with me, so like when I'm doing videos, I do them. One of the reasons I use Streamyard is because I can then use the green screen and I can record straight away, and then I don't have to edit in the background. It can do it, so it saves me loads of times. It sometimes causes me grief because if any point the Wi-Fi drops out, you can't tell on the edit. But then when you download it, it causes this like separation of the sound and the picture. So I'm there going, and there's this delay. It's really annoying. And it'll only ever happen on a video if I forget to check. That's the only time it ever happens.
Yeah.
If I check, it's always perfect. If I forget to check, there's always that fucking delay. But the thing with me is I do videos fast. So something happens, I'll have a video out within half an hour if I get a chance.
Sure.
And that's, I think, you guys know I do like 5 videos a week on science fiction. Every week I go into it and I go, what the hell am I going to talk about this week? I always find something to talk about. But then yeah, and thank you, Kerry. Have you timed him out of it? Ralph's gone bye-bye now for a little while. But yeah, we have very trusted people like Kerry that look after the channel and basically get rid of the people putting porn up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You bloody bots. But there's like, so yes, the StreamYard's great. And
the other thing that you do, one of the things that you do that I've learned, which is very smart, is you'll chop up chunks of, say, this conversation to give little teases. So I did that because I'm like, you know what? I don't expect everybody to sit here for 3.5 hours, but there are these moments that I think are really fun. So maybe I'll do little moments, and that way it's kind of a tease, and Yeah,
and then aim them back to the thing. I did one with Joe Flanagan ages ago. That was such a brilliant. It's an hour and a half interview. Who's got an hour and a half to sit and listen to an interview? But I can sit and listen to it, cut out the bits I like, that are relevant to like Stargate or something, and then talk about it. And it's a really interesting way to do videos. I like to do that when a video comes along or when an interview comes along that's really interesting. David Blue did one. I can't stand David Blue. I think he's an absolute idiot. Brilliant actor. I like him. I love Eli. As a person, I find him smarmy and irritating.
Okay.
But he did a video. I cut out the bits that I thought were really relevant, and he was actually talking about something interesting. And then you don't have to watch the rest of the video.
Right. Right.
So happy days as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and also somebody said, if you want to get more attention on your YouTube, smaller videos.
Yeah.
You want to do like little 2-minute whatever.
YouTube, like 10-minute videos, 8-minute videos. So if you're doing a short video, it should always be 8 minutes long. See, this is, I'm giving out all of these little hints here. So you get mid trailers if it's 8 minutes. All right. So if a video does well, you're basically getting another trailer in there. So it's, again, if you want to make money, it's really good to do. But YouTube like it because they can put that extra trailer in. So they like 8-minute videos. So they'll push them more. But then you've got to do the shorts. But I can't be asked to do shorts. I can't be bothered.
And that's the problem. Unless there's something quick that I have to say, like, hey, I'm looking for voice actors for the audio series. I don't know what I can say in just a minute or two to go, because again, like you get it. These things are stuff that we're passionate about, and we can't say it in 2 minutes. You have to kind of rant a little bit to get to your point.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes talking for 8 minutes can actually be quite hard when it's something quite little you're talking about. One of the things I get a lot on my videos, I was like, you're repeating yourself again. You're repeating yourself again. And I'm just like, yeah, but when I'm doing a video about a news story and something happens, you do have to sort of tell the story about how you got there. I have to do a video based on that. You might never have seen my videos before.
Right.
So I've got to explain it, but also I'm telling a narrative. I'm trying to explain how you got there. And it does mean I end up repeating, especially my Stargate videos. Dear Lord, I repeat myself so much on Stargate videos. But you kind of got to. And then somebody will bitch about it. And it's like, well, yeah,
but you know what they are? They're the ones that they're so familiar with you, so they don't need that repeating part. They're already hooked on you. You're doing it for the newbies. I get it. I'm with you. I know.
Yeah, but that's how I've got to do it. But also, I'm like saying, I'm telling a story. I could just go, this has happened. Bye.
Right.
Yeah, it would be a 30-second video, but there's no story.
Right. And people go, I don't believe what this guy's saying. There's no proof. Yeah. So you have to kind of explain yourself.
I explain it. And still, sometimes there's still no proof, but I explain it so hopefully most people understand that it makes sense. Like at the moment, I'm being told basically that Stargate, it's going to be the summer now,
right?
Until we get an announcement, late spring, early summer, basically. And obviously a lot of people they find it so frustrating because it's like, particularly if you've been watching my channel, because I've been telling you. This could happen soon, but I've done that like maybe 3 times, I think, where it looked like it was going to happen, and then for some reason it hasn't. So I've got to explain now that well, there's a whole new problem that Amazon have caused for themselves. This causing this delay, and however. So again, you have to explain why something has happened. I'm doing the same with when I do Star Trek videos, because there's a lot of business issues going on at Paramount at the moment. So you've kind of got to explain that to understand why then something happens, and then this will be stuff that they'll never explain openly. Paramount, Amazon are never going to come out and go, yeah, we didn't order enough studio space. Sorry, that's never going to happen. But the evidence that I'm telling you the truth sort of things comes from the fact that they've not restarted a bunch of shows that were in production before.
Yeah.
So it's 2 and 2 equals 4 here. That's why it's happening. But it's also why we're not getting announcements on RoboCop, Legally Blonde 3, which is what we're all very excited about, and Stargate, because they fucked up.
But and I know you share this thought too. It's very frustrating for the last ever since Amazon bought Stargate.
18 months. Yep.
Yeah. Even way back. I mean, I was part of that campaign where all the Star Trek people were going, hey, it's Star Trek. Let's let them know that, or Stargate. We want more Stargate. Give us Stargate. Let us know you're there. Let us know that it's happening. And I think by then Amazon, at least MGM, should have said something. Like all we wanted was someone to go, we hear you. That's all. If they had just said, thank you, we hear you, and said nothing else, we would have been good. We've been heard. But all we heard was crickets. And this is going on years now. I mean, years where people are going, I'm not giving you anything. I'm not going to tell you we hear you. Thanks. Not even a thanks for all your effort. Yeah. And Amazon, like you've said, I think on past posts, they don't care. They're not doing that part of the social responsibility. And they would shine so bright if they just let us know that they hear us.
Yeah. They've only, I mean, Deadline did that article in April, which basically said, yes, we're working on Stargate Robocop. I think that is their way of telling us. They're not going to tell us directly. They'll tell us through reporters. And I remember watching them going, oh, that article didn't mean anything. It didn't mean anything. He goes, no, that has come directly from Amazon. If you don't realize how important that is. Sorry, Paul.
It's Jackson, by the way, Carrie and everybody. It's not Johnson. It's Mac Jackson, Jack.
No, it's now
Just making sure they know. Yeah. Well,
No.
depends on who you talk to. Anyway,
Hey, boy.
thoughts.
That's a nice porn name.
Yeah, right. Hi.
Max John.
Anyway, I watched that Fallout trailer.
Yes. Oh, well, that was the thing we were going to talk about an hour ago.
Yeah.
I think that might be the most exciting thing. It's not going to be out until the end of 2024.
Okay.
Augusty time. It's just summer 2024. I've never watched the game. I've never played the game. I think I played the original, which I've suddenly realized was like 25 years ago.
Okay.
Which is like mind blown. I'm so old. It's like 1997 or 1998 or something like that. The first game came out. So I know a bit about the premise that there's the nuclear war and blah, blah. Made by the guys that did the Boys. So it's Kilter Films, which is one of the main producers, and the game creator is Bethesda, which is the guys that's done the terrible Stargate game that's coming out soon.
Yeah, I saw that. I watched your video, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't feel like Stargate. It feels like very dull, and
it feels like a very, very long time. But maybe it'll. It's just still the original beta, so maybe it'll come out. Apparently, that's my fault. His name's Johnson. I don't know what you're arguing about. He doesn't know names.
Yeah.
I will get people actually saying to me, because is your name Jamie? Yes, it is. Yeah, but is it really James? No, Jamie.
No. Yeah.
But what's on your birth certificate? Jamie. But is it short for James? No. It's Jamie.
My wife's name is Cindy, and she's not Cynthia. It's Cindy. It's just
yeah. Jay should run a poll on how confident we are. I don't know how to do it though. So because we're doing it through Streamyard, I can't run a poll. I have to do it through YouTube. So I'm sorry, I can't. But I will do one on the community page after this. So remind me. Do you think
is the most freaking frustrating thing in the world? If you're a Stargate fan, we've talked about this. No matter what they say, until I see it on the screen, I'm like, I don't know, because same thing with Quantum Leap. I was like, oh God, please don't ruin this. Please don't. And thank God they did it right. And the only thing I'm left with the Quantum Leap is the little nitpicky things, which I think we're blessed to have. Like, I'm like, okay, if she uses the hand link, it should make the hand link sound. When he looks in the mirror, there should be that sound when he sees his reflection. Yeah. And when you got to remember, and you'll appreciate this, the hologram has limited space to move around in the imaging chamber.
Yeah.
Therefore, ergo so, every so once in a while, you have to have them reposition themselves. Al did it all the time. They did an episode of season 1 on this new Quantum Leap where they never showed Addison go, beep, boop, beep. They're out in the woods, and she's walking with him the entire hour. I'm like, no, No.
But what if they do a so how they get around that in the holodeck on Star Trek is that you're basically walking on a treadmill, but it's not really a treadmill, it's like electromagnetic. So you feel like you're walking, but you're actually not going anywhere.
See, if they would say that on this show, I'd go, fine, good.
But they never said that in Star Trek, to be fair. It was in the Star Trek manual.
Really?
They explained it in the TNG manual, yeah.
Oh, well,
So,
okay.
when they explained how it all worked. The Popcorn Power has suggested I do the thing, and I just went on the community page because I can do two things at once. Look at me. So there is a poll right now on the community page. Will Star Trek, will Amazon, and I've just said yes or no, by the way. I didn't. Will Stargate, yeah. Oh, shit, now I better check. I put Stargate.
You did. I know. I made the mistake as we were talking before.
I've done it in videos and then not even caught it on on the edit. I was such an idiot. View channel, community. Did I do Stargate? I did Stargate.
Hey, all right, good.
We've had one vote. No. So,
yeah.
Well, you answer the question. Do you think my full name is not Jamie and the Magic Torch? I've just been thrown back to my childhood. There's a TV show when I was a young boy called Jamie and His Magic Torch, right? And he had a torch and he used to shine it on the ground and he used to open a portal to another world and he used to take his dog and he would go into this other world and it was a kid show. It was a cartoon kid show. Okay. And the theme tune was Jamie and his magic torch. And it was awesome. And obviously I was the only Jamie, so I got nothing. But obviously when we were about 8, nobody knew the penis jokes that you could have had with Jamie. Just go on, the show's your magic torch, mate. And I'm like, it is magic. And so but I got so much crap for it, and I still get occasionally people will send me, oh my God, did you know there's this TV show called Jamie's Magic Torch? Yes. Do you know it looks just like you? Yes.
I would get Action Jackson. Remember, there was a movie, Action Jackson. I'm like,
no,
I'll take it. That's fine.
I will get you a Jamie's Magic Torch thing. And the character had blue eyes. I have blue eyes. But I used to have big, moppy, thick hair. Mm-hmm. Yes, that sort of thing. You're not going to be able to see it very well, but
okay, sure.
Yeah, that was me. At that age, 100% that was me.
So you were asking if I think Amazon's going to do a good job?
Yeah, that's what I think. It's on just a second. It's on the community page.
For me, I don't know. I'm not gonna poo-poo it like everybody on the internet does. Oh, it's gonna be garbage. Okay, then it probably will be with that kind of attitude. I pray to God the right people well, we've talked about this and you've done videos about it, and it comes down to the people in charge knowing, understanding what it is, knowing why it works, and then taking their ego out of it. If we can have that magic formula, there's no reason why it shouldn't be great. Without getting into all the details that we did before, it can depending on who's in charge, it can go one way very hard or the other way very hard. I don't think it's kind of going to do one of these where some of it's good, some of it's bad. I think, and I pray, it'll go really well. Maybe there's a little things you and I will nitpick. Maybe we'd like it to be back in the same mountain, Cheyenne Mountain, whatever. If they do, great. If they don't, as long as they explain it and it doesn't feel foreign. Like, for me, season 9 and 10 didn't need to feel foreign. They could have just kept on keeping on, but they tried too much to go, no, we're doing a different show, and it yanked me out of it too much. And that's not just because RDA wasn't there. It was a lot of other things. For every episode had a moment where I went, no, right there. That moment would not have happened in the previous seasons. So with this new show, I can't even give an opinion. I just pray. I'm praying they do it and they're sincere. But you and I have had a lifetime of shows where we watched second seasons of shows go to crap because somebody's ego got involved. I wanted to make sure people knew I did this. Look, I'm the new showrunner. You need to know it's me. Yeah, but you just destroyed the show.
Yeah.
You know, my wife and I
run out of ideas as well. Sometimes shows they just run out of ideas.
Right. I mean, that should be the case with Stargate.
Yeah.
I mean, Stargate is so open; they should never run out of ideas. But there are others where you go, well, we had a great idea for a first season. What do you do with the second season? Well, we didn't plan that far ahead. Why? Yeah. Like this Fallout show that we were trying to get to and talk about? I don't know it. I don't know much about it. I know it was a video game. But you know what? Based on that trailer, I see a world of opportunities. There's no reason this should not work. You know,
I think Fallout's going to be awesome. I think they've got a really good team. I just worry that it might be a bit Boysian and they might try and shock us because it is a violent video game.
Sure.
Post-nuclear war, loads of mutants and things, but I think it'll be a laugh a minute if they do it right and they get the tone right and they don't start at 100 miles an hour. I want them to give us somewhere. With the Stargate thing, though, 100% depends who they've got in charge. They get the right people in charge, we'll get a brilliant show. Amazon proved that they can make brilliant telly because what they tend to do is they just tend to get people. They put someone in charge and they leave them to it. They don't tend to interfere too much, which is one of the problems with Rings of Power. They didn't. They have done for the second series. Apparently, executives have got way more involved and sort of gone, look, we need this, and this. Come on, this has got to be better. We're spending £1 billion on this, for God's sake. But generally speaking, they don't do that. They let creators crack on. So if they pick the right creators, which they didn't do for Rings of Power, I'm sorry, they just didn't, we'll get a great show. I have heard something concrete about Mark Fergus still being involved, or at very least he was in June. But the strikes have sort of had a bit of we've had an unknown quality now because of the strikes, thankfully. Thanks. Mm-hmm. So we're, I'm not going to definitely 100% say they're still involved, but they were in June. So, and I think they're the right people. I think Penguin and Parker can do this. I know they've already got another show with Amazon they're doing as well. One of the Warhammer or the other one. There's two. There's very similar titles. Games turning into shit TV series that do made it. Which they are developing still at the moment, but that's gone to production now, so they can move on. But also, their production company, they can do 2 or 3 different shows at once. It's not a problem. Yeah. So I'm hoping it's still going to be those guys. Whether they'll do a good job or not, I think those guys could do a good job. And like you said, if they keep it simple, keep it simple, stupid. My problem with Atlantis was, I thought Atlantis should have gone for at least another 2 seasons. I was gutted it didn't. SGU, I actually think, though, they were limiting themselves. They didn't have a lot of places to go with that show. Don't get me wrong, I wanted it to end. I wanted a conclusion. I wanted 2 or 3 more seasons and what have you. But it would have worked. I think SGU would have worked better as a streaming series where we only got 10 episodes a year. And I think it would have been so much better. Like 40 or 50 episodes. God of War. Thank you, Dave. Warhammer and God of War. I keep mixing them up. It's a shame almost. It was a bit too early. It's a shame, really, SGU didn't come maybe like 2 or 3 years later, because it would have been an streaming show. And I just think the way the show was, I think it would have worked better.
Yeah, I think. Well, we all know there were so many factors that made that not work. But before even the network issues happened, they shot themselves in the foot because they got rid of Atlantis for SGU. No matter what they say, that's clearly what they did. And so people who liked Atlantis went, hey, no, you didn't give us a conclusion. What the heck? And the other part of it was they made the mistake of saying, if you like Battlestar Galactica, that's what we're doing. No, we love Battlestar Galactica because it's Battlestar Galactica. Yeah. Don't mess with our SG universe. Okay, I accepted it. I loved it. I didn't need it. I didn't need it to do it the way that they did it, but it was still connected to my Stargate. I still got to see Jack. I still got, to know that it was part of this world and it's whatever. I'm much more forgiving about certain things, but I knew it. The moment they said that, people checked out before the first episode aired.
Yeah.
So that plus everything else, I mean, you have to relish the formula that they have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and also be respectful, like John's saying. They need to conclude it because you have to respect the audience. I love, even if I'm not watching a show or I don't like the show, I always respect the fact that the network went, you know what? We're ending it, but we are going to let you wrap it up. That's all you want. That's really all you want at the end of the day.
Yep. Yep.
Oh.
I actually think I see Unseen Censors has said, admittedly, I liked Atlantis a lot, loved Universe, yet me older, I only watch SGU religiously, SG1 religiously.
Me too.
I actually think Atlantis is the slightly better show.
I know, it's funny that you said that. You're quite the unique duck for that.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
If I hadn't seen SG1 and I watched Atlantis and then watched SG1, I think I'd have been the same. Right, so SG1 is the daddy. SG1 is the best show. It's got the best characters. It is it's my favorite show ever made.
Right.
But if I think Atlantis had come first, I think I'd be sitting there going, Atlantis is the best show. It's my favorite show. It's the best show ever made. But it came after.
I wonder. See, for me, I always call Atlantis the little brother of SG1. It's its own thing, but the world will always look at it as, yeah, you're doing great. You know, your brother though, however, your older brother, so when you have perfection and you do the offshoot, it doesn't matter how good this guy does. You're always going to be thinking about that, and the fact that by that point, Robert Cooper had taken control over SG1.
Yeah.
And Atlantis, and what he brought was the things that RDA fought against, which was cliche characters and cliche moments. Yeah. And as much as I love Jason Momoa as a person, I hated Ronan Dex. I hated Vala. I hate anybody who is you're filling that cliche, I need the big tough guy, or I need the slutty little space girl who's sassy. I remember when that came about, I just went, oh, so we're doing that now. Okay. And I had a problem with the fact that they got rid of Rainbow Sun Franks. Mm-hmm. And they even said it. Yeah, we got rid of him to bring in Ronan Dex.
Yeah.
You didn't have to get rid of one to get the other. You could have had both.
No, they could have done. But I don't agree with you with the Ronan Dex thing, because I think Jason Momoa he was brilliant.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
I completely get that the characters are. They basically said, right, we've got to have an O'Neill character, we've got to have a Daniel Jackson type character, we've got to have a Teal type character. Sure. Because we've got a formula for how this show works. Mm-hmm. And when they did SGU, they just went, we're not following that formula anymore. And that's why I think some people turned off it initially. Mm-hmm. I turned off it because I found it boring. They took the humor out. That was my biggest problem with it.
And they dragged. It dragged. SGU, first few episodes, air and whatever, water, you're just like, get to it. Come on. You're asking a lot of your audience now. Let's, The
first 2 episodes of SGU are phenomenal, though. The 3rd episode is when they kick in and you go, and then every episode is like that then for about half a season. Mm-hmm. And it's very dreary, very slow. But it was getting better, and I think somebody said it in the comments earlier. It was beautifully made. It was the best made of all of them.
Yeah.
From a production point of view, it was just. I just found it boring. But oh my god, it was getting better. And at the end of the day, even boring Stargate is still better than 99% of the other stuff on telly.
Do you know? Did I tell you what Jason Momoa wanted to do with his character? He was one of those guys who his idea for Ronan was better than what they gave him. He was like, okay, Ronan needs to have some sort of drama, angst happen to him. Mm. And at one point, because he's like a man-child, decided to cut his hair. And that ticked them all off because whoa, continuity. We need to, so they glued the thing back onto his head.
Yeah, so he was wearing a wig for 2
right? For the last season. So what his thing was, he also came back with the tattoo. And they're like, dude, you play ball with us here. Come on.
Yeah. So
what he wanted them to do, a couple thoughts. I don't remember all of them, but I remember loving every idea that he had. And one of them was for him to get captured and do an arc where he's getting tortured. And one of the things was to have live them cutting his hair. Like he brought that up. He's like, what if, like, because his hair was so important to him, it meant so much, and he'd be like tortured, be like that, or maybe they scar his arm too, and that's why he had to do the tattoo. And they said no. So that last season, he was really like ticked, and I think that was his way of rebelling. And they went, yeah, well, you're wearing a wig, and they made him wear the wig for the rest of the season. But his ideas, I'm like, yeah. I like it. You gave that one note character more depth, more layers, which I really would have loved, because then he wouldn't just be the Wookiee, Yeah.
However, there was an argument between him and David Hewlett, and David Hewlett says he can't even remember what it was about. But that was in the period where he was getting Jason Momoa was getting quite pissed off with the character. He, like he said, he didn't really feel like it was going anywhere.
Yeah.
But also Jason Momoa is very clear about the fact that he was partying maybe a little bit too much. But him and David Hewlett basically didn't talk for years after. And I see David Hewlett talking in an interview about it, because he was getting in Jason Momoa's face, screaming at him, having a I think it's just halfway through I realised, oh, he's big, isn't he? Because for some reason, but he said I'd committed myself. Dave was like, I've committed myself at this point, so I couldn't back down. But he's big.
Well, it's funny because David Hewlett always is very much, I think, like Rodney. I mean, he said it himself. I'm without the smarts. I'm that sassy attitude Rodney guy. I see it. Great actor.
Very clever guy.
I met his sister.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I used to, before Mikey was born, Cindy and I would always go to the New Jersey Stargate conventions.
Of course, yeah.
And it was great because I got to, long story short, I met Jason Momoa twice. He remembered me performing at the con the first year. And he said, hey, next time I'll bring my guitar. We could jam. Well, the next time I saw him, I brought my guitar. And he went, oh. And it was one of those where they all come around to the table and they sit with you for a few minutes and you all get to talk and shoot the bull. Well, when that was over, he gets up and I guess ran and goes, dude, I hear down the hall, and he has the slide. Dude, go get your guitar. I'm like, oh, okay. So we spent 2 hours trading my guitar back and forth, playing songs. He taught me how to play the slide. I showed him how to play certain bar chords. And then he goes, you know what we ought to do? We ought to go get a guitar. You want to go get a guitar? Oh, okay. Well, they yank him off because they have to feed him by contract. And they're trying to hide him from me. And he, not that I just like, okay, we're going to go get a guitar together. The guy goes, I find him, and he's in there finishing up. He goes, hey, back. 2 seconds. I'm like, okay. Guy comes up. You know how the handlers who are supposed to be volunteering at these conventions, they get a little ego going instead of being helpful. They're all about, no, nobody's getting by that guy except me. Well, they go, what are you doing? Nothing. We're just going to go get a guitar. He goes, no. I said, no, we are. He goes, I can't have you in the car with them. It's a legal issue. I said, okay, just tell me where you're going to go. I'll drive my own car. No. I said, okay, well, now you're being an a-hole. So long story short, he goes, gets a guitar on his own, finds me again while I'm watching somebody's panel and goes, hey, we spent another 2 hours playing guitar in the lobby. There's pictures on our Facebook pages of that. It was such a great, because now it wasn't about a star and a guy who watches the show. He remembered me as a musician. You're my musician buddy. I'm like, okie dokie. And at the time, his wife and my wife were just about ready to give birth to our sons. So we were bonding over that, and it's great. But anyway, Rodney McKay's, or the sister was there at the convention. And so was the Scottish, give me his name.
Oh, Beckett, but I can't remember his real name.
Yeah. So he's there, and we're talking to him one night, and the other thing a lot of these people do that are supposed to be volunteering is they try and take advantage of the star. So they're trying to get him drunk. So they just kept refilling his drink when he wasn't looking. So he's feeling no pain. And I'm talking to him, and he's fascinated with me and Cindy. You're married. And his Scottish accent really comes out. Oh, you guys are great. Well, now we think, we've talked for a while. I'm going to end it and let him get on with this night. I said, well, I'll talk to you later, buddy. He goes, all right, come here. Beautiful. And he gives me this big kiss on the side of the face, which I understand it's a loving, sweet thing. It's not, it's not the Paul McGillion. Thank you. Of course, when I need to remember it, I can't.
No. Of course, I'm used to it. We're live. Your brain is on other things.
Yeah. So Paul McGillion gives me this big kiss, and I think, isn't that sweet? Because I get it. It's not a goofy thing to be made fun of. However, the people at the rest of the table, when I turned around, didn't get that memo.
Yeah.
And they teased me mercilessly for the rest of the weekend. Like, oh yeah, how about I give you a kiss? We're on the elevator with her, McKay's sister, and we're.
I want to say Jennifer, but I don't think that's right.
No. Somebody will jump on.
I was reading about it literally the other day, literally 2 days ago. No, it's gone. Anyway.
So anyway, we're riding in the elevator with her, and people are teasing me, going, "Oh, how's your boyfriend? Oh, hey, Paul McGillion gave you a little kissy." Kate, thank you. Kate Hewlett. Kate Hewlett is her name. So Kate's there, and as she's getting off the elevator to go her own way, and we're all laughing, and she's laughing at me because I'm like, "All right, guys, I got it. Let's be mature." And somebody goes, "Yeah, he gave you a big sloppy kiss." And as she gets off the elevator, she turns and goes, "I'd give you a kiss too." And she walks away, and everybody on the elevator is like,
that works.
All right. Not a bad thing, I guess.
Yeah. You're a very pretty lady. So what are you going to do?
But it's
right,
great.
We are going to wind up.
Yeah, we really should.
Yeah, it's been an hour and a half, and Man United are playing in half an hour. And I have to go and watch Doctor Who, apparently, because I'd forgotten it was on.
You and me
so
both.
let's just have a quick look at will Amazon ruin Stargate? If I can get my page to refresh. I'll go to another one and then come back again. It's only had one vote, surely. It's only had one vote.
Give it time.
I don't believe it. I think it's just. I don't think it's. How do you? Oh, they keep changing the fucking page.
Yeah.
I don't know why do you hate me so much? Right. So there's been 38 votes. 53% say no. Will Amazon MGM produce good Stargate? No. 53%. 47% say yes, they will. Out of 38 votes so far. There's been
let's
two.
Remember, we got to be positive, otherwise nothing happens, and then they'll take it away from us.
Well, the Legion says it depends how woke they make it, which is everyone's go-to. Which
hopefully we're getting past that as a society, though. Like, let's, you know what I mean? That pendulum hopefully swinging back.
The studios are. I honestly think the studios at the moment, they're realizing that there's a worse thing to be called than racist, sexist, anything else. Is being called woke, and it's a death knell. So, yeah, I think I think there's going to be a move away from executives stressing quite so much about it. And we know this is happening because Disney and a few others, they started hiring inclusion executives.
Sure.
Almost all of them have been sacked now, and they've started to move away from it. So
you did your job, you proved your point, you're gone.
Yeah. We just did a Shakespeare with and not a single person was from the same country. Well done. We just did Henry VIII, where it was I don't know. I'm going to stop that thing because I'm going to annoy somebody. So let's just stop that sentence. But yeah, it's definitely been. One of the things about Chris Carter was talking about bringing back the X-Files and potentially doing a new series, which would be a continuation, but with new characters, so soft reboot sort of thing of the X-Files. And the first thing he said was, it's going to be more inclusive. So I'm like, that's great, but why is that the first thing that you said?
Yeah.
And fair enough. There's only two characters really that starred in the X-Files.
Sure.
One's a man, one's a woman. Okay, neither of them are African American, whatever. But you can have two people at work and have a reasonable chance that they would both be white, or both black, or both whatever. It doesn't matter. If you had a cast of 100 and they were all white, I'd be going, this is set in Louisiana. I'm not sure all you people should be white.
Right.
Fair enough. But I just found it very strange that was the first thing. I mean, and I'm not even joking. He basically said, we're bringing back the X-Files. It's going to be more inclusive. And I'm like, you haven't even started writing it yet. You haven't done anything yet. Why is that the first thing in the press release to say that we're going to do this? The first thing you have to say. And that just screamed at me that executives are going, you're going to have to tell people, because we keep getting accused of being pink skinned instead of...
it reminds me of the joke that they make about, let's say, vegetarians. You know why they're a vegetarian? Or you know how you can tell that they're a vegetarian? Why? Because they won't shut up about it.
Yep.
You don't have just let quality be your guide. You don't need to tell everybody your internal agenda. Just make good TV. You don't have to tell us if it's woke or if it's inclusive. Just make it. Just make it good, and we'll go, okay. Quantum Leap, perfect example. This new cast, very diverse, but they're not going, did you notice how diverse we are? No, they're
that bloke's wearing lipstick. He's wearing lipstick. Yeah,
just move on. He's a person, or they are a person. You don't need to go, we're putting up a billboard so that people watch Quantum Leap because it's so inclusive. No, just make good TV, and then people will accept it. But if you start with that banner of X-Files is going to be, diverse, well, okay, great. It should have been anyway. If you're going to do something, just do it.
I think there's a big woke bear out there, and Chris Carter was just poking it with a stick. Come on, scream woke at me. Come on. Kerry Iger just admitted that Disney has been terrible. Yeah, it is. Disney have basically admitted they're in a complete rebuild.
Well, because they got lazy. They went, oh, you love Marvel? You love Star Wars? Great. Basically, they do what I always say the Beatles did. The Beatles went, and they even admitted it. Paul said it. We knew whatever we were going to do, people were going to buy, so we could just either try or not. And I think Disney did that kind of thing where they went, whatever, just make whatever you want. We'll slap Marvel on it, and people will dig it. And people went, no. We want a certain quality, and like I remember you going on about.
We'll just do it quickly.
We'll
just do it really fast.
I think of you with She-Hulk, right? I enjoyed most of She-Hulk except for the last episode where. Did you read, you know about the comic? Have you ever read the comic?
I've read bits of the comic. It was not in my favorite. I know she broke down the fourth wall in the comic as well. So
exactly.
It was
true so that they made the mistake of going, we're going to do what we do in the comic. However, that doesn't translate as well in live action, because live action is more concrete to people than a comic story, which could be ignored 2 issues later. Mm-hmm. If you do this on a live a TV show, you go, that's part of the MCU now. So the moment that she walks around and talks to the executives and we never see an actual fight wrap up to resolve what all these episodes were, you just get ticked off the audience. They were going, hey, whoa.
They spent 6 episodes building up to something. They just went, nah. But also, I felt like with She-Hulk, they went, if you like this stuff, you're an idiot. And I'm like, whoa. So they basically went to all the Marvel fans. You're all stupid if you like this. Do you want? It's just that they have the whole fight bit at the end. Because is this helping anyone? Is this where we should do? Or should we do something different? I'm like, no, I want to see the fight.
I want to see the fight.
I'm not stupid for wanting to see the
fight. Right. And for me, I mean, I love Daredevil. So the moment I saw him, I'm like, all right, give me more Daredevil. Yeah. And then they do that last episode, and you're like, wow, you're not cute. That didn't work. That wasn't cute at all.
Again, with Deadpool, sorry, they're going too far.
Deadpool?
And there's a lot of the fourth wall stuff, which is like She-Hulk. And
I never liked Deadpool. I never liked him. I didn't like him as a character. I think Ryan Reynolds is great as the character, but I hate that. Aren't I cute? Look at me, I'm talking right to you. I hate that. That's not for me.
Daredevil was the best thing in She-Hulk, but even that was basically undone So they will say, did it happen or not? We don't really know.
Right.
But that was just thing. That was my main problem with She-Hulk. It just felt like they were sort of going, if you like this sort of thing and you like Marvel, then there's something wrong with you, or you're an idiot, and we can be cleverer than we can do better than this, can't we? I'm like, no, I want to see the Hulk get punched in the face by She-Hulk.
Right.
Do it.
Right.
And that guy that looks a bit like Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters when he was younger. I want to see him get punched in the face as well.
Absolutely.
But you're an idiot if you want to. So
well, I don't know if you heard this latest rumor. They're apparently quietly giving us Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Miss Marvel season 2. Okay, great. With Moon Knight, the last episode ticked me off because it didn't make sense.
I blinked and then looked up, and then there was a hippopotamus talking to me, and that was the point I realized I hadn't really been watching that show. I knew no bloody clue what was going on.
So maybe these second seasons will redeem those 2 shows. I enjoyed Miss Marvel a great deal.
My understanding is I've just talked to somebody that's doing somebody that has been working on the She-Hulk. They are in the writers' room now, doing it, and they have a list of requirements from specifically from Kevin Feige of what it can be, and they have basically been told it's got to fit within the universe again. It cannot be, because if you're going to do a comedy show, do a comedy show, or do a Marvel show. You cannot do what we did last time. It was too confusing. It needs to be one thing. So that basically the writers have been told, you need to tell us what show you're doing, and then you need to stick to that. If you want to do a comedy show that's going to break the fourth wall and take the piss, that's fine, but that's what it needs to be.
Right.
Do not chop and change and everything. And
I'm
if that's
so
true, great.
I'm so happy. Yeah, I pray to God it is. Because, again, people want more. Just give them better. That's all. Don't get lazy. Don't get, well, you're just going to buy anything we make. No, we won't.
No,
a Secret Invasion. Did we talk about Secret Invasion? Wow. That was that
most useless show ever made.
Right.
Rubbish.
Right. I find it very hard to, I'm supposed to care about random green guys who don't like each other. I didn't remember you much from Captain Marvel, the first movie. Now you're giving me a series on you.
Well, final episode. I'm watching my 5-year-old son, and he's there going, "That's not how DNA works." I know, child, who doesn't even know what DNA is, and you know that's not how DNA works. Well done. How come he's got a genetically engineered thing, but it's all it's covered in the tattoos of the character? That's so that you know that his arm is supposed to be Drax the Destroyer. Because how come tattoos genetic? No.
Right. Very good.
I knew that. I'm like, yes, I know you knew that, son, because you're not a fucking moron.
And also,
the writers are
that wasn't the payoff. That's supposed to make us all happy. I'm like, you made a Super Skrull and you made it a girl. Whatever. I don't. Super Skrull is like a Z level character. Who cares? It's random. It doesn't matter. And now you made that be the big payoff. I didn't care all the way through. Rubbish. And even Fury didn't feel like Fury.
No, felt like a grumpy old man. Guys, we have to call it an evening because I need a wee, weirdly. That's basically how all of my live streams end. When my bladder goes, you're ending now. So we have to end. Mac, it's been brilliant to get you back. We will have you back very shortly because we always have a good chat.
Always. I'm telling you, there's a list of things we haven't even touched on yet. So anytime.
And we will touch each other every chance we get, sir.
No,
sorry. You said you were Catholic earlier, so I assumed you were into that sort of thing.
No, not that kind of Catholic. No.
I'm also Catholic, so I am into that sort of thing.
All right then.
I went to a Catholic school.
I will make an appointment on my phone then.
Mac Johnson, baby.
Jackson.
Mac Johnson.
Well, you're not helping my YouTube channel at all by that.
Yeah. Everybody now immediately search for Mac Johnson on YouTube. Guys, the links are in the description to go and see more of Mac and the show that he puts way more work into than I do, and put into mine. So really, really great. Thank you so much. We'll see you again really soon, but
thank you, everybody.
This video has to end very quickly.
Really
or this is going to be an accident. We'll be back tomorrow live as usual, an hour earlier at Harris's request because he's off doing something what young people do. So, Rich, thank you guys. Unseen Center, thank you. Oliver, Brain Pain, thank you. Kerry, everybody in. Really, really appreciate it. We'll see you soon. I forgot to do the brand thing. I'll just end. Bye.